You are here, and that is enough. Whatever brought you to this moment, a long day, a restless mind, a quiet need for something steadying, you arrived, and that was not an accident.
For the next while, there is nowhere else to be, no task waiting, no decision to make, only this voice and these words and the gradual softening of everything you have been carrying since morning. What you are about to hear comes from a man named Seneca. He lived in Rome in the 1st century, served emperors, survived exile, and spent the last years of his life writing letters to a friend named Lucilius. Letters about how to live, about what matters, about time. You do not need to follow every word. You do not need to remember anything. Simply let the ideas arrive and let them go, the way you let sounds drift past you just before sleep. That is all that is asked of you tonight. Take one slow breath now. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw.
Seneca begins with something that stops you. He writes to Lucilius, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Life is long enough, and generously given, if we use it well." Read that again, slowly. Not too little time, too much wasted. This is the whole argument, held in 2 sentences. Everything else Seneca writes is the unpacking of that. Most of us have felt, at some point, that life is short, that there is not enough of it, that the years go too quickly, and we never quite get to what matters. Seneca heard this complaint in his own time, from his own contemporaries, and he disagreed. He said, "We do not receive a short life, we make it short. We are not given little time, we lose it. We let it slip through our hands while we look the other way." This is not blame. It is an observation, and it is one of the most quietly radical things anyone has ever written about time. Because if time is not short by nature, only short by our choices, then something can be done about it. Even now, even tonight. Think of a single day last week. A day that felt full but also somehow empty. You were busy. You moved from one thing to the next. And yet at the end of it, something felt unfinished. Not a task. Something harder to name. Seneca would recognize that feeling immediately. He writes that most people live as though time is endless, spending it carelessly, scattering it on things that do not truly matter, then suddenly turning around and finding that most of it is already gone. He uses a striking image. He says, we are like misers who guard their money fiercely. But when it comes to time, which is the one truly irreplaceable thing, we are the most extravagant spendthrifts in the world. Money can be earned again. Property can be rebuilt. Health sometimes returns, but a wasted hour does not come back, not one, and yet we give hours away with almost no thought at all. How does this happen? Seneca is precise about it. He identifies the ways we give time away, and they have not changed in 2,000 years. Distraction, delay, ambition that points always toward a future that never quite arrives. There is the time we give to worry, turning over what happened yesterday, rehearsing what might happen tomorrow, living everywhere except the moment that is actually here. Seneca writes that a part of our life is taken from us, a part slips away, and a part we allow to be stolen. Allowed to be stolen. That phrase is worth sitting with. Not all lost time is lost through carelessness. Some of it we hand over willingly, to obligations we never examined, to approval we never needed, to other people's urgency that we mistook for our own. Seneca reserves particular attention for what he calls the occupied life. Not the busy life, the occupied life. There is a difference. A person can be busy and still be present. But an occupied person has surrendered their hours entirely to external demands. He describes men who pursue wealth, then power, then reputation, always convinced that once they reach the next thing, then they will finally begin to live. Then, after this, when this is done, and the years pass and then never arrives, you may recognize this, a version of it. The sense that your actual life is waiting somewhere just ahead, that the present is only a corridor you are passing through on the way to something else. Seneca's letter is addressed to that feeling directly. He writes, "While we are postponing, life speeds by." He does not say this as a warning. He says it as a fact, the way a doctor names what is happening in the body, plainly without drama, so that something can be done. And here Seneca does something unexpected. He does not say, "Therefore hurry." He does not say, "Therefore fill every hour." He says the opposite. He says, "Collect yourself. Draw inward. Stop scattering yourself across things that do not belong to you. Take a slow breath now. Feel the weight of your body settling. There is no hurry here. Let that be true for a moment." Seneca makes a distinction that feels almost invisible at first, but opens into something large. He separates time that is occupied from time that is lived. Occupied time is given to others. Lived time is yours. This does not mean solitude. It does not mean withdrawal from the world. Seneca was deeply involved in public life. He knew the weight of responsibility. What he means is something more interior, a quality of attention. Whether you are present in what you are doing or merely passing through it. He tells Lucilius, "Seize the day, not to fill it, but to inhabit it, to actually be in it. To let what you are doing matter while you are doing it, rather than living in the next thing while this thing passes unseen." There is a word in Seneca's writing, recede in te. It means to withdraw into yourself, not as escape, but as return, to come back from the noise and the obligation and the performance of the day, and to find what is actually yours. What is actually yours is smaller than you might expect, and more precious. It is the quality of your attention, the direction of your care, the things you choose to dwell on when nothing external is demanding anything of you. These are the materials of a life. Seneca writes that the wise person lives as long as they ought, not as long as they can. This sounds strange at first. But what he means is that the length of a life is not measured in years. It is measured in how much of it was actually lived. A life of 90 years spent mostly absent, scattered across worry, distraction, deferred living, is, in Seneca's measure, a short life. A life of fewer years, inhabited fully and with clear attention, is a long one. Time is not the container. Presence is. Let that settle. You do not need to do anything with it tonight. Simply let it rest beside you as you move toward sleep. Seneca's final word to Lucilius in this letter is not a command. It is almost a blessing. He says, "Hold every hour. Grasp it. The one who relies on tomorrow loses today. Tonight you have held an hour. You gave it to stillness, to quiet, to words written 2 millennia ago by a man who wanted his friend to live well. That is not nothing. That is, in Seneca's terms, exactly what time is for. Breathe in slowly now, and out. Let the day dissolve. Let whatever remains of it go. You have done enough. You have been enough. The rest can wait until morning. Sleep well.